So what's the problem again?
Well, I don't know, and that's the problem. Twice now, this machine has done something that doesn't make sense. My whole job is making sense of this thing, with all my senses, sight, smell, sound, and I still don't know why it's broken.
Maybe you just have terrible senses, like your sense of fashion.
I have incredible senses, just like a shark.
I don't know. I dated Left Shark from Katy Perry's 2015 Super Bowl halftime show, and they really lacked a sense of direction.
Actually, sharks are great with direction. They use a literal internal compass to navigate their way home. Say, have you boys fixed that hunk of junk yet? HQ's been demanding an update.
No, but I did some poking around in the settings, and I found 2 decades worth of Discovery Channel's Shark Week reruns.
Hot dang, I knew I had sharks in the brain for a reason.
Wait, shut up. I mean, just let me talk for a moment. I think I've got it. Somehow, the inbox got combined with a data log. Did something cyber explode our system? Doug with the H, man, I was so close.
Yeah, to an explosive? Are you cubs missing your sense of danger?
A digital explosive. Now the files are all corrupted.
Wait, so did we lose everything?
No, there's an emergency protocol set to print the backup data, which will need to be manually fed back in.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad. How many sheets does it need? Come on, just because Chompageddon, Lorne and Herbie's Sharktastic TV Marathon is canceled, doesn't mean we can't have fun picking up 97 kilometers worth of paper.
What's on all of these anyway?
An explanation for why I'm tasting sounds after 3 consecutive all-nighters?
Well, this section is about sharks, and most fish have a specialized sensory system called the lateral line. This lets them sense the flow of water using organs spread across their bodies called neuromasts. Each neuromast is a small bunch of cells with little bitty cilia at the center, and when water moves over these hairs, the neuromasts send signals to the fish's central nervous system to let them sense vibrations in the water. It's like how us landlubbers hear. We have cilia in our ears which react to vibrations moving through the air, and we can use these sound waves to pinpoint what made the sound and where it came from. Neuromasts usually span the length of the body, hence lateral line. Sometimes they're in rows, but can also show up as single dots. Really simple versions of these systems show up on the surface of the skin, but most fish have mucus ridges underneath the skin called lateral line canals, where the majority of neuromasts are found.
So it's like a special water sense that land dwellers don't have?
Exactly. Water acts differently than air does, and because of that, the way they observe their world is completely different than the way we observe ours.
I must be seeing things because this says it's your deposition for your father's court case against the federal government? What?
No, it can't be. He had all of those destroyed after he made me pay off those judges. Give me those.
Lauren, you said that sharks sense electricity at a hunt, like how I've begun to sense auras. And yours is a little off.
Just how I like it. Sharks have the ability to sense electrical currents in their environments. All animals, big or small, give off electrical energy through muscles and nerves, and sharks can sense that through the water. Think about an ECG machine that measures the electrical energy coming from your heart beating to diagnose heart issues. Sharks sense these same impulses through miles of open ocean, diagnosing if they could eat you or not.
How do they sense that from so far away when ECGs have to be right up against our skin?
Air doesn't conduct electricity very well, but saltwater does. Saltwater contains sodium and chlorine ions, which can carry an electrical current further than air would. Sharks' electroreception is so finely tuned that they can sense electrical current changes down to 1/1000th of a volt. If 2 AA batteries were connected 1,000 kilometers apart, a shark could tell you the instant one of them ran out of juice.
You're telling me that a shark knows the instant my Bim Bembo runs out of battery? In the water? What?
No. I'm telling you that every shark within 1,000 kilometers knows the instant your Bim Bembo runs out of battery. They do this using tiny pores around their mouths that kind of look like blackhead pimples, and depending on the kind of shark, they can have between a couple hundred to over 1,000 of these sensory dots. These pores are called ampullae de Lorenzini, and they're filled with electrically conductive jelly with, guess what, more cilia at the bottom. This time, an electrical current passes through the jelly to wiggle these cilia, giving the shark a sense of where that current is coming from. Ampullae de Lorenzini might do more than give sharks electrical predator vision. It's also possible sharks can use electrical fields to find their way home across thousands of miles.
So can I, with Seagal's nav path, that is, and you don't see me bragging.
Yes, but we need specialized tools to do that. For sharks, it's innate. Remember what I said earlier? When muscles and nerves react, they generate electrical current. currents, and magnetic fields are created when there is a flow of electrical energy. So all animals, humans and sharks included, technically generate a very weak magnetic field too. The two halves together create one whole electromagnetic field. The Earth has an electromagnetic field just like animals do, generated by the movement of molten metal in its core, and has a much larger field than you or I do.
Speak for yourself.
Sharks, according to one current biology paper, might be able to use their electrical senses to navigate too. Researchers have studied the magnetoreceptive abilities of sharks before, and it's well understood they are able to sense electromagnetic changes. How is another question they haven't quite figured out entirely yet. We know sharks can monitor magnetic fields through their electroreceptors, but it's possible they have another magnetic organ located somewhere in their noses. The jury's still out on that one.
So when sharks have magnets in their nose, it's a theory. But when I do it, it's a medical emergency.
We're not having this conversation again. The theory is since we know sharks can sense magnetic fields, it's possible they could use that input, like Seagal does, to navigate the ocean. Brian Keller from Florida State University set out to test whether or not this theory is true. A 10-foot wide cube was built around a shark tank that could produce magnetic fields horizontally and vertically, mimicking the geomagnetic conditions of different places on Earth. 20 bonnethead sharks were caught off of Florida's Gulf Coast and placed into this tank. Bonnetheads are a type of hammerhead shark known to travel hundreds of miles to return to the same estuaries they were born in to breed every year. That, along with their 2-foot average size, made them a great subject to study. 3 different locations were simulated: a control environment, the location the sharks were caught, an inland location about 370 miles north of there, and an oceanic location about 370 miles south of there. In the control test, the sharks didn't do much, as expected. They didn't show interest in swimming in any particular direction because, at least magnetically, they were home.
That's beautiful.
In the northern test, researchers recreated a place these sharks would never, ever be: Tennessee.
What do sharks have against Tennessee?
Considering it's inland, there's no way a shark could feasibly find themselves there. The point of this location was to see if sharks could orient themselves home in an environment completely foreign to them. Again, the sharks didn't show any preference for direction, like in the control, and researchers weren't too surprised by this outcome either. There would be no need to navigate home from there. But in the third test, the southern test, the magnetic conditions were meant to mimic somewhere in the shark's home territory. In this test, unlike the first two, the sharks consistently oriented themselves northward, back home. This suggested to the researchers that these sharks have a magnetic map sense. Lead author of the study, Brian Keller, explained, "If I put you in the middle of nowhere, you couldn't point towards your house unless you knew where you were in relation to it. And that's a map sense."
But this piece of paper says that James Anderson, a shark researcher at California State University, said he doesn't buy that the study proves sharks have a map sense. A magnetic map implies the animal knows not just where it is and where it's going, but also its end destination. For example, I need to go north for 500 miles to get to Seamount X, and I'm not sure they've shown that here.
So sharks can sense magnetic fields, and this study suggests that they can use them to point themselves home if they're in familiar waters, but more research is needed until we can understand it completely.
Sharks really do have some cool senses. Smelling blood in the water is so Spielberg, 1975.
Whether it's their lateral line, electroreception, or magnetoreception, sharks have tons of adaptations to their environments that made them the peak of their evolutionary ladder for 450 million years.
They don't look a day over 300 million.
Well, it's going to take a few million years to sort through all these printouts.
That's life sometimes, kiddo. We'll just have to adapt, like the stalwart shark, to our ever-changing environment.
If I did have shark senses, I could have fixed this earlier. Now even my sense of pride is bombing.
Ah! My danger senses!
Well, sure, that makes sense.
Did you know that sharks are older than the North Star? Yeah, sharks are 450 million years old, and the star Polaris is only 70 million. If you like sharks, like, comment, and subscribe. We rely on audience support to create these videos. So if you want more content like this, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/subbars and get your little name up here, like Floyd's mom.